All right, so welcome everyone. First, I wanted to say a big word of thanks to everybody who stopped by the doctor's offices and who gave us feedback on daytime support. Every one of these feedback has either swayed project direction or identified issues that I thought could not exist. I'm going to go back and fix them. So in FME 2017.1, we are retiring our aging fleet of datetime tools. So date formatter, timestamper, and a bunch of custom datetime transformers on FME Hub are going to be replaced by something better. I'm the development lead for the project. My name is, perhaps fittingly, Timey.
So, would you like to say more about yourself?
Oh, that's it.
Oh, right. So, and my name is Lena Bag. My name is Lena Bag, and I am a member of technical experts team, and I'm also one of the product managers for this project, and I'm very excited to present our results. So, what time is it?
Oh, I was going to ask myself that question.
Okay.
So, let's ask the brand new datetime stamper, which I can't see on my screen, so I'm going to give this a shot. Okay, all right, so the mouse is where? Can anybody see the cursor? Is this other monitor accessible? Okay, I'm going to try to move my cursor over into the other monitor. Yes, there it is. Ooh. Okay, saved. This really is a thing of beauty. We can now output our current timestamp as a date time, just a date, or just a time, in local time or UTC time, with or without UTC offset. And if we can focus our eyes on the preview section for a moment, I'm going to change this from a local time to a UTC time and back. The preview is updated. So what time is it? It's the year 2017 and something. Can we make it more readable? The answer is yes. This is our brand new datetime formatter. And for now, I am formatting our timestamp in ISO form. So this blob here now looks like the year 2017, May 26th. And this bit is still heavy. Can we do a little better still? Okay, let's see what we can do here. So let's see what this will do for us. How do you like that? May 26th, 2017. But it's missing the time component. So if I can get to the start of this field, 12:23, is that AM or PM? Ooh, unable to convert. And it's because I misspelled one of the letters. And this gives us 12:23 PM. And to complete the example, I will insert the weekday. So 12:23 PM on Friday, May 26th, 2017. Now, what if we forget one of these mini format flags? There is actually a quick reference embedded right within the transformer covering all of the format flags we support. Okay, now what if there's something we want to do with the timestamp itself? Maybe we want tomorrow's date or yesterday's date. So we can come in here and change the type to date, and introducing the datetime calculator, we can simply add a day to get to tomorrow, or subtract one to get to yesterday. And there is a second way to do the same thing in a more compact form. We now support ISO durations, so we can do a period of 1 day and either subtract or add. We can also get differences between date times. So if we specify the beginning and the end, we can get the difference either in ISO form or anywhere ranging from seconds to years as the unit. And lastly, there is an advanced expression mode. I'll show an example of this later, but the datetime calculator will be your one-stop shop for most of your datetime math needs. Okay, so let me switch back to the presentation.
Why did we decide to do all of that? We had datetime functionality before, but many of you were aware of some problems and limitations. They were ranging from fundamental complete no fractional seconds support to kind of cosmetic date formatter and times temper speaking different languages. There were also quite inconvenient no datetime math operations that resulted in many custom transformers added to the hub. So instead of patching and fixing these problems one by one, we decided to exterminate all of them. And this is how we launched the project. As we had the luxury of starting from scratch, we decided to start from proper definitions. And first of all, we decided to define what kind of data types we will be working with. We might want to work with dates. We might want to work with times. We might want to work with complete datetime values. They might contain UTC-F set or not contain UTC-F set, in other words, be unzoned. These are the formats for these values that are understood by FME now. We also introduced one more idea. It is a date type that is called interval. What is interval? In human language, it's a period of time or duration, let's say, of a project, or a difference in time between two events. And FME interval format is based on ISO duration format. You can see, oh yeah, I can show, I found the cursor. This is the fullest possible form of the interval. It always starts with P, which stands for period. The calendar part is separated from time part with T, and it can contain a number of years followed by Y, number of months, number of days, number of hours, minutes, and seconds. It doesn't need to be that complete. It can be missing parts. It can also be positive or negative. Like, for example, how long is it since Wednesday social? I bet there are no years. It's probably -1 day and 18 hours. And I think, I don't know whether we are right about minutes, but you get the idea. Or it can be that short. How long is it to wait till ICECREAM event? It's about 2 hours and maybe 36 minutes. So having those really formal definitions will help us deal and process the datetime values better. And this is the suggested scenario that we would like to talk about. So first of all, you read your data. And the next step is you parse it. It's when you get from wibbly-wobbly to whatever human unfriendly, but very efficient and very easy to manipulate FME format. Then you can manipulate with your data. You can compare the values, you can do math, etc. But maybe before you write it, maybe you want to format it into some kind of fancy datetime format. If you write into a format that understands datetime concept, has datetime data types, you don't need to format. The writer will take care, it will get the datetime values in FME format and will deal with them. But if you, for example, want to have a PDF report or write in Word or just output into CSV format, you might need to format your datetime values into something better than just plain long row of numbers. And this is where it becomes bigger on the inside, I would say. We were talking about the two steps. It's parse and format. And Ty has demoed datetime formatter where you can parse datetime values and format them. You can use transformers, but you also get datetime functions that you can use in any transformer and then that you can wrap into long expressions. So basically, you can parse this not FME format datetime into FME format with a function. or you can format datetime value into something human-friendly. This will be available from any transformer that has text editor. And in text editor, in functions, you will find string functions, math functions, and then datetime functions. And even better, what if you provided a datetime parse with the date February 29th of 2017? That is actually not an invalid date, right? It's not a leap year this year. If you try to parse it, it will not be parsed properly, and we will get a null returned. However, we have another advanced mode. It's a repair mode. And if you prefer to fix those overflows, you can use repair mode. And so it was the February 29th, so it will become March 1st. It will fix any overflow. It can be 60th second, for example. So I guess over to you.
All right, so on an earlier slide, we determined it would be about 2.5 hours until ICECREAM. And this is the datetime expression that we used to compute the result. So here we called datetime diff, and the arguments are the ICECREAM time and the current timestamp. We could have specified it inside the datetime calculator, but we could have, as Lena mentioned, specified it in any text editor context. And so these datetime functions can do everything that you can do in the datetime calculator, plus a lot more. At the bottom here, I have put up a description for boundary case support. So we can see here in a leap year, February 29th plus a year will take us to the end of February, which is the 28th in the following year. And January 31st plus a month will take us to the end of February. And similarly, the difference between the end of February and the end of January is 1 month. It just works, and everything is consistent. Is there more? There is more. I want to thank Heidi and Robert for inspiring this slide. Sometimes we want to convert from UTC time, which could come from satellites, to local time. And on this page, I put a couple of examples converting from UTC time to local time. And the function that we called here is timezone set. And the interesting bit I want to point out here is, in the first example, I chose January 26th, which is in Pacific Standard Time with a UTC offset of -08. And in the second example, it's right around now, May 26th, and we're now in daylight savings time. The UTC offset is now -07. And once again, this just works. And this is an example, a touch of daylight savings magic, and there may be more to come. Here is another common example. Let's say we have a go-to meeting in Vancouver time. We want to know what the time is in Toronto time. So we call timezone set, specify the target time zone, and we will get the answer.
There are several more functions. They are very useful, very helpful, just not that exciting to demo, so we will not stop at them with all the details. Please take a look at text editor and find all the functions. And if you have any questions, you always have a support. But there is also very detailed documentation now. You can, for example, access the documentation from help button in text editor and scroll down to the datetime functions. And this is a small screenshot from the doc. Another very exciting part is log messages. Let's say we had something weird in the data and it didn't, the translation didn't go well, and some values were returned as null, they were rejected. What is the reason for that? Please scroll the log, and chances are you will find a really detailed explanation and even sometimes a link, a reference where to check for what would be the accepted values. So in this case, I was trying to add 1 day, which I typed in as 1 day, to a datetime value, and obviously 1 day is not an accepted format for interval. So this is why it was rejected. And it even provides me with a link to the datetime data types in documentation. So please take a look at it and give it to use. So the future, anything in the future?
All right, so we have shown quite a bit on parsing, formatting, and math and time zone support, but what we haven't talked about are readers and writers. A lot of our readers and writers support datetime values, but overall, they tend to have a lack of support for fractional seconds and time zones. So in the near future, we hope to add that support to our most popular formats. But if you have a special request, this is the right place to make that request be known to us, and we will make sure that that be added to the list. We're considering adding IANA time zone support, which means we will have daylight savings support for all the time zones in the world dating back 100 years. And we will have more transformers and functions as we go forward for things like rounding, trimming, and other common operations.
So, Miles, do we have a couple more minutes? Sure. Yeah, I take it as yes. Thank you. So how about a couple of scenarios? This is the real workspace that we were running, and these are world tour events. And the task was we had some dates for the events, and we would like to find out which ones are in the past, which ones are in the future, and the most important, which ones are today and tomorrow. So there are some challenges. We have dates that are not even close to the FME format daytime, and they are missing the year. We know, all of us in this room, we know we are talking about 2017, but we didn't provide this information. So with either datetime formatter or with a function, we can turn this date into proper dates. And it's as easy as parsing them and adding the year, just appending the year to the date. But then the next question is, how do I filter those values when they are already in a proper format? We use datetime stamper or datetime now function. Sorry, I cannot see. I guess it's the upper one. That returns the today date. Then if the date of the event is equal to the today date, it's a today event. If daytime difference between the two events is 1 day plus 1 day, it's a tomorrow event. If it's more than 1 day, it's probably in the future. If the difference is negative, it's in the past. It became that easy with the daytime math. Another example, what if you would like to read some remote sensing data? It is easy to set up a time interval that you are interested in as a start date and end date. But what if you would like to read, let's say, every August data starting from 2010 or 2015? How would you do that? In this case, it became really easy. We create two parameters. One is what year would you like to start with, and another one is what month are you interested in. And then we calculate how many years do we need to process, and then we create the start date. In this case, we decided to go with February because it's a fancy month. So the start date will be, in every case, every year, followed by 02 for February, and followed by 01 for first of the month. But then the end date will sometimes be the 28th of the month, and sometimes will be the 29th. And this is how we do this. We get start date and add a month to it. And this way we get to the March 1st. Then when we extract just 1 day from it, we get to the last day of the previous month, whether it's 29th or 28th. And this is the dates that we get as end date, and we can use them as parameters for the reader. So this is really kind of much easier than it used to be. So,
all right, so FME 2017 will be a real time saver. It's got the best daytime support that we've ever had, and we're so excited about what we're shipping that we brought everyone a couple of boxes of dates. So we're but no times. No?
Just, okay,
we want to, yeah, let's pass them around, okay. And then I can start taking in questions.
Yeah, and I just wanted also to say that honestly, it's a very advanced, very robust functionality, and we hope it will be really helpful for you. So any questions?
How about the upgrade? We have to do manually do the upgrade for all the timestamper?
Yes, Yes, it will not be, I don't think it will be upgradable with that upgrade transformer. You will be able to replace it. So,
And so similarly, you will keep the existing timestampers. They will continue to work, but you will not be able to find them in the quick add anymore.
When you're working out time differences, could you return, say, the time in hours and minutes? So rather than 120 minutes or 122 minutes, you get 2 hours, 2 minutes?
Just hours and minutes.
there is no, so you can return time difference in years, months, days, minutes, seconds, anything. So you probably will need to go with the biggest unit. And, actually smallest unit, and then calculate how many, let's say you go with minutes and see how many full hours you have in it. If it becomes critical, if there are many requests for this functionality, maybe we can introduce something, some kind of function that will recalculate for you.
So the answer is yes.
Yes, okay.
Any other questions? There's one here.
Thinking of surveying data with the epochs.
Are you asking about the supported date range?
Yeah, so you define an object or a property of a class that would have an epoch that has a date range.
We currently support the year 1000 to 9999. Is that enough for your
More that
needs?
there's like a valid range, just the concept of a month or a year is sort of a conceptual repeatable cycle.
We're talking about Unix epoch times?
Survey, as in horizontal and vertical control in land surveying.
Do you know what that is?
What is the form that you get datetime values
It's
in?
a business concept, which is a range of time where a vertical datum would apply. So
And
it's
how
a
does
valid range of applicability of control.
and what would be the range? Like an example?
1948 to 1982.
Yeah, so in our coordinate system concept, we don't track that kind of thing yet, but we may at some point.
I'm seeing the potential of using it
Right.
to tie to positional control, because now you know what control is used for the GIS objects that are stored under that epoch. So now you could adjust data from one epoch to another and then compare them in 3D.
Yeah, at some point that we're going to do that. So as the continents drift, yeah, maybe I'll just take that. So right now what we're seeing in FME is not a lot of, we don't have a deep understanding of coordinate system epochs at this point. But what can happen is the different continents will drift, and if you don't know the time of your coordinate, and you're comparing it with coordinates from a different time, you can be off by some number of centimeters or even a lot of centimeters. And that's something we're going to look at in future releases of FME, but probably not FME 2018.
Thanks for the question. All right, thank you, Lena. Thank you, Timing.
Thank you, everyone.